Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Transparency Conversation on this Tuesday. I am really happy to be with you all on today, and I am extremely honored to have a special guest with me on today. Thank you all. Thank you for the person who chimed in. Please come on in the room and send me some love so that I can see who you are, so that I can recognize you. What is going on, my good people? If I had to encourage you all today, I would just say a little bit of this. I feel like going on. I feel like going on. I feel like going on. No, I feel like going on. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I have a very special guest with me. Hey, Netapoo. Hey, Brianna Boo. What's going on, ladies? I'm really happy and honored to have a good friend, Miss Brianna. Oh, no, let me correct that, Hunty. Dr. Brianna Gaynor. So let's welcome her as we discuss church trauma. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. Everybody, please meet my good sister here, Dr. Brianna Gaynor, who is a clinical psychologist. Yay! Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I am a clinical psychologist and a speaker, and I am the owner of a private practice called Peace of Mind Psychological Services in Johns Creek, Georgia.
Nice.
Very happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate this. I shared with my fans last Transparency Tuesday conversation that I will be having special guests to come on and talk to me about some very different type of topics, okay? And I'm very transparent, and I'm an open book when it comes to some of the things that I've experienced in my life. So I'm really excited that you are able to join in with us as we discuss church trauma. So we've all had our level of church trauma, drama, situations, circumstances. I know I have. I can't speak for everybody else, but I know that I have. And I can honestly say that growing up throughout the years, the trauma has actually molded me to be a very, what's the good word? Bold woman. Very bold in being able to speak on things that hurt me, that didn't hurt me, the lessons that I'm learning and still learning. And I am one, if you know me, I'm one that don't church hop when things happen. Things happen. That's just like when things happen in family. We cannot drop our whole family and just decide I'm gonna go get a new one because they upsetting me or making me mad, right? So that's just the way life is. You have to take what hand is dealt to you and make the best out of each situation. And so I'm really excited. So what's your take on church trauma? Have you had any church trauma?
I don't know that I've had specific church trauma. When I think of church trauma, I think about being hurt to the point where, kind of like what you're alluding to, you want to leave, you don't feel like things are going the way that you think they should, you're disappointed with maybe leadership, something like that. So I haven't had church trauma in that sense, but I definitely have had situations where the environment just wasn't right for me anymore. Not because anything harmful happened, but because I was growing and just where I wasn't serving me anymore. And so it was time to move to somewhere else that could help me grow further in my relationship with God.
Absolutely. And please, everyone who's watching, please chime in. I want to know. I want to know what experiences you all have had so that we can discuss it, okay, openly. Arnetta, put your comments on in there because I'll put it on in there. So I've experienced quite a few, but you know what? I will say this. One thing that I have grown to understand and recognize is, number one, every single person that's a member of a church are human. We are all human.
Yes.
The pastor is human. The church mother is human. The choir director is human. Everybody in the church are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean, people of God, people in the world? What does that mean? That we all make mistakes.
Absolutely.
We all go through things. But
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, and I'm careful to not do this now.
Mm-hmm.
We as people, we are the ones who put other people on pedestals.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they fall hard, we're devastated because, oh my God, how could he do this? Or how could she say this? Or how could it? Well, they're human and we are all fleshly. That's why the Bible tells us we have to die daily. We have to get rid of flesh daily. So, how do you feel about that? Do you agree that everybody is human and we all make mistakes? I'm sure you do. But
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so a few things, but to answer that question, absolutely. We are all human. And one of the things that I learned, just even in my personal therapy, is that when you're going to church, and of course you're trusting your pastor, but you also have God living in you. So you have to filter it through your own Holy Spirit versus just kind of listening blindly. I think when I first really got serious about my walk with God, everything I heard from the pulpit, I was like, yep. Oh, it has to be. Mm-hmm. And so as I grew and I matured and I realized that, okay, I also have a level of discernment. It also was like, okay, if it doesn't feel right, that's something that I can go pray about. Just because I'm not on the pulpit doesn't mean that everything is going to feel great, and I can take that to God as well. And so we also have to figure or realize that as we're growing, we have our own relationship, and it's not just about listening to everyone else. That's a way to help us, but it's about your personal relationship. The other thing, though, is when we're talking about trauma, let's kind of define what exactly we're talking about so everybody's on the same page. So when you say church trauma, what are you talking about exactly?
Well, just exactly that. When things go wrong, when things happen that you don't agree with, or when one person or a group of people do something that you don't agree with it, and you allow it to dictate how you're going to perceive, or how some people stop going to church, you know what I mean? Or they get mad at God, like it's God's fault that this person did or said whatever they did or said to them. But but you said something a moment ago when you first began to talk. You said your self-therapy. I sometimes wish that I could hear, well, I can't say that because I've heard that nowadays. But back in the day when I was going through so much, I was molested at an early age, right? And so I had a lot of questions, a lot of issues going on, a lot of anger and everything growing up. But now back then, therapy was out of the question. You didn't go to therapy because that just meant you was automatically crazy.
Absolutely.
Who had therapy just crazy.
Yeah.
But they want you to go to the pastors and the mothers and everything and tell them everything, but they're not certified therapists. So when they disappoint us or not give us what we're looking for, we oftentimes, use that, and it becomes a trauma, right? Because if I'm telling you all my issues, you're not qualified. So you don't even know how to direct me or provide me with guidance, or even how to encourage me on a spiritual level. You just bash me or tell me what you're doing is wrong. It can go wrong. You know what I mean? It can go left. So that thing right there, therapy. Can you talk about how important, period, therapy is? Not even just in the church, but period. It's very important.
So to the point that you made earlier about people in church being human, because we're all human, we're all flawed. There are things we all struggle with. As a mental health professional, I am definitely skilled in helping people with different areas of life, but I'm a human before I'm anything else. So we all have stuff that we struggle with. And I think that there's such a stigma about mental health, going to therapy. It must mean I'm crazy, or there's something wrong with me, or I have a diagnosis. But the truth is, we all go through things in life, whether it's a chronic diagnosis or it's just stress related. And at some point, I believe we all could use some extra help depending on life challenges. Absolutely. And so for me, when I first went to school, got my master's degree, I wanted to just see what it was like on the other side. So I went to therapy because I was like, oh, I wonder what this is like for the client. And then as I went through things in life, it was like, oh, okay. It was it was very challenging to do my job and not really be able to transfer those things into real life. And I found myself being in situations sometimes with clients saying a lot of things that sounded great and thinking, are you doing that? No, you aren't. And so I realized that those were times where I needed my own help and support, which has helped me to be a better person, be a better leader, be better at my job because I'm taking care of myself. So self-care is such a huge thing. This is about our mental health, the part of us that we can't walk away from. It's there all the time. And so
Absolutely.
it's important, and it really gives you insight into the things that you didn't even realize. The reason why I went to therapy is totally different from the things we work on. And I'm like, whoa, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, you realize all those different things, but it's amazing to really grow and develop in those ways that you really need an outside perspective to help you see.
And that's the key right there, outside
Mm-hmm.
perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because we are so, I think we as people, we are genuine, I can't say that, but a lot of people are genuinely, and they don't even realize how judgmental they can be,
Yeah.
just not being receptive or being open-minded when things. Let me give you an example. So last week, I decided to go out with a couple of my friends. We went to a comedy club. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to laugh and just have a good time, right? So I go to this comedy club with my friends, and then I get recognized as a gospel artist, right? So they announce it broadly. We're excited. We have gospel singer in the house, LeNasia Tyson, and so they come on and stand and wave. So I'm like, hey, I'm here, and everybody clap or whatever. Then they stick the microphone in my mouth. So I'm gonna do what I love to do. I'm gonna sing, but instantly after I gave the comedian back the mic, sanitized my hand, I looked down at my little pineapple juice and I said immediately, what if somebody think that I'm drinking? I don't even want to drink my pineapple juice no more because I'm so worried about what other people gonna say and how it's gonna look. And I'm like, no, let me just dilute it. So I'm putting water in my pineapple juice, and my friend is looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, no, I don't want people to think that I'm drinking alcoholic beverage and it ruined my reputation in the gospel industry as she ain't saved because that's all. I look at that as a trauma. That's a traumatic experience because in church we're taught that you can't do this, you can't do that. And then I hear so many people, and this is one of the things that I did my best to do, to explain to my children the difference in living a saved life and saying you saved and living the opposite side. So what my kids see me do at home is what they should see me do in church is how they see me live at home. So I'm always worried about that. But because of that traumatic, that stigma that you ain't saved because you drinking alcohol, I'm sitting here tearing up my pineapple juice, and I want that pineapple juice, So it's like little things like that, the way we think and the way we operate, that can be condemning in the church, which is why so many people like, I don't want to go to church. Them church folk this,
no, absolutely.
That. And they so judgmental. And and here it is. That's what a lot. I don't know about. I would be rich if I had $1 for every time I've heard during a church service the ministers or anybody say, we need to go outside the church and reach the people. Where if you're going outside the church, does that specifically mean? Only stand on the corner outside the church? Are you going to sit on the church porch? You're going to go in the church backyard and talk? Like, how do you expand it? How do we get that mindset? We have to discuss it. But if so many people throw all of the things under the rug, they sweep it and they don't want you to talk about it no more. This happened. They don't want you to talk about it. I was molested. Shh, don't tell nobody that because they're going to look at you and think something wrong with you. Are you kidding me? What about me? Maybe if I talk about it, it may help me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to do all the talking, Dr. Gaynor. You got to do some
but I'm not going to interrupt. I'm listening to everything you're saying. I mean, I think that is true, but I think that, and I hear a lot of people say that people in church are judgmental, but the truth is we kind of are. There are these hierarchies of what's okay, what's not. I've had that situation just like, oh my gosh, even let's just use the example of alcohol. Oh my God, is this okay? Like being, like having a, Bible study, and I don't really feel like I can talk about that I drink alcohol, because maybe that's bad. So I have to show this side of me, not that side of me, and just wondering if I can fully be myself, because maybe that doesn't look like I follow God. Maybe I don't
Right.
seem to be the same person. So there's this one persona and another. And I think the truth is, there are things that we all go through. There are things that we all
Absolutely.
struggle with. People can follow God all their lives and lose someone and be mad at God, and you're not supposed to talk about that. There are all these things that, if we could be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would open up or allow people to want to follow. Because the truth is, I don't think people don't want to go to church, not because they don't believe in God, it's because of the
Right.
people in the church.
It's the people.
But the truth is, it's not about the people, it's about God.
It's right. Isn't that crazy? It's like a switch.
Yeah, it's not about the people, it's about getting what you need, knowing that this person is flawed, get what's good. If something doesn't feel right, be okay with that. Develop your own relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
But the focus is so much on the people that we're not focusing on this.
Exactly.
If we focus on this and just let this be what it is, then we'd all be in a better position.
Absolutely. I have to acknowledge some of my guests, my fans, and my family and friends over here. Hey, Sister Shantae. Oh, I should have invited her on in. She's a doctor as well. Arnetta, I'm going to show her question. She said, therapy is so important. I found it so helpful for me to find when my guard and then guard my own boundaries. Absolutely, Netta. Absolutely. Absolutely. And she also said, let's see here. Judgmental people tell young ladies about their outfits and young men about their hair. That is true. Never mind. Okay, so many scriptures in the Bible we take and put our own definition to. That come as you are. Everybody equate that to clothes. That is not about clothes. And I say that all the time. It's not about the clothes that you're wearing. When the Bible tells us to come as we are, that means if you're broken, come to church, receive the healing, get fixed on up. If you angry, come to church. Let's try to find some joy in. You know what I mean? Let's bring some joy. But people take all of the scriptures out of context. But I definitely want to go back to that therapy thing, because that is so seriously needed in the church.
Oh my
because a lot of times I don't even think our senior saints sometimes realize how they can impact our younger saints. And then they fuss and wonder why the younger saints don't want to come. And it's because as soon as they walk in the door, they are torn down. They're not allowed to speak their mind. And they're not allowed to be honest. They're not allowed to be transparent. People often talk about how my children and I communicate. And they say, your kids just spoiled. No, my kids know that there is absolutely nothing that they can't talk to me about. I don't care what it is, because I want them to hear it from me first. I want them to get my understanding and definition. But therapy is so important. And I really want my people to understand therapy does not mean you're crazy. Going to therapy does not mean you are crazy, you're sick, something is wrong with you. It does not mean that. It just simply means you now have a qualified person to talk you through whatever situation you're going through.
And how about we also stop using the word crazy? Because that just makes it even worse, like
right.
You think about crazy, I think about someone in a straitjacket, I think about Foam coming, all these movies that just make it this huge scary thing. You must be hearing voices. And not that that's not a part of mental health, but the majority of us are struggling with things like anxiety and depression. At some point, whether it's clinical or not, we've struggled with those things. A lot of the diagnoses in the DSM are symptoms, and the DSM is our medical dictionary. So our symptoms we all struggle with. It's just how it impacts your functioning. But at some point or another, we've all been sad, we've all been anxious, all those kinds of things. And so maybe it's just about using the word struggle versus crazy to normalize the fact that we all just deal with something, different levels, absolutely, impacting us in different ways.
Absolutely.
But it's still a human experience. Mental health is something we all have. And sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. And I think that a lot of times just being careful with our wording, the vocabulary that we use can make a huge difference in us being open to these experiences.
You are
And the other
absolutely
thing
right.
I think being able to talk about life, any of these topics is really important in church, to really be able to understand that we're human. We all have thoughts, we all have struggles, we all have desires, we all have things that we
Right.
struggle with. And so you were talking about you and your children. I could ask my mother anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what was great, that I could say, oh, well, what about this? What about that? There wasn't
Right.
anything that I needed to go to someone else for.
Right.
Those are the kind of conversations we should be able to have.
Or that you're going to get a whooping for asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be punished because I asked you about sex. Get your man off of sex.
And I mean, I think that's another topic that we don't really, I remember just kind of growing up and feeling like that was shameful to talk about.
It was even shameful to mention the word sex.
Exactly. But it's a natural thing. So why don't we, if we talked about it more, it would take it out of being taboo, and we could have conversations about, okay, why this is something we talk about, maybe that we shouldn't do, why this is something that people are saying is so precious. But it's almost like, nope, we just don't talk about it. And when you don't talk about it, it's that thing that you just kind of want to know more about. That the shameful thing is the thing that you just want to figure out because no one will talk about it with you.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's always, I may have to bring that on up in another topic. We don't have a discussion simply on that. Yeah. Well, back to this trauma thing. I'm actually, this is what I'm experiencing right now, right? Because I am in the process, and this is my terminology, I'm in the process of doing what God has called me to do, which is bridge the gap, right? And I'm a music person. I love music. So I'm trying to bridge the gap between the gospel industry and the secular industry. And what I'm struggling with right now is I like to create music that's motivating, uplifting, encouraging, and just exciting music, right? Mm-hmm. Fun, invigorating. You know, when I go to church, I don't want to sit in church like this and just be listening to a whole bunch of talking, or, you know, I want to be excited. Talk to me about some good topics, you know, some things that I can relate to in my life right now. Mm. But musically, I am dealing with the fact that I'm just the judgmental part of what people gonna say and how they gonna react. You trying to leave gospel? No. You trying to go into the secular industry? No. I just want to uplift, motivate, encourage people all the way around. So when I have people telling me that I can't do this or I can't sing, you're not singing. I know the difference between, there is a difference. Let me say this, everybody, there's a difference between gospel music, inspirational music. I know the difference. I promise you all, I know the difference. Gospel music is the good news of Jesus Christ. So the songs will be touching to the point where you get convicted or you receive some, you know, you can get happy, excited, and you want to shout and dance, and it's going to be some scripture in it. It's going to be some, you know, some word founded in the song. I know that. Inspirational is simply that. I'm inspiring you. I want to uplift you. I want to motivate you. I want to tell you, job well done. Let me explain some things to you. This is how I made it. You can do it too. Let me push you. Let me lift you up. Let me hold your arms up. And it's like, it's so crazy because everybody want to put it in the box. But here it is right here. I, as a gospel singer, can't go into the secular industry and make a love song and still be considered saved in some people's eyes. Yeah. But I can't go to I can't get in the how can I say it? We got all these secular artists making gospel music and coming on to gospel side. Yeah. And we are receiving them. Absolutely. Why are we receiving them? Because the message, right? Yeah. The message is positive. So we're taught to not judge. So we look at it and we look at we listen to the song and be like, oh, okay, that's Snoop Dogg, but it's a great message. LeNasia sing a love song or go and do a song in the secular, then I'm not saved no more. That's so unfair. And it's creating a different type of emotion for me. You know what I mean? It's building a wall of, I don't care what you think or how you receive. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be that way. I don't want to be like, this is what I want to do. Y'all deal with it. No, hear me out. My message is positive. Why can't I release my positive message to both sides? You know what I'm saying? And so it's creating a little bit of friction with me to the point where I almost have that, hey, everybody, I see y'all. I promise you, I see y'all. It's like, and I have a pastor, associate pastor at my church. He spoke on a message this past Sunday, and he started off the message by saying, the biggest lie that church folk has ever told is sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt.
They hurt.
And he said, that's the biggest lie. You should have saw me trying to put on my makeup. That is so true. Because people don't realize the things that they say out their mouth, it can affect you. And once you say it, you can't take it back. It's out there. It's going to either hurt, sting, buzz, or not affect you at all. But as I'm going through this transition and I just want the world to be encouraged and uplifted, I can't help but think, what my church family would say. And I don't mean my church particular, Victory Cathedral. I mean the Christian life, the Christian walk, my Christian sisters and brothers in Christ. You know, Chantel, I know, I see you. Okay, I see my people. Let me see. Hello, everybody that's speaking. Let's see what Teresa.
So I do want to respond to what you're saying, but
okay,
I will in a second.
Well, go ahead, respond. Our children learn from us.
So first of all,
go ahead.
When you were saying that there's a part of you that's just like, I don't care, I was thinking, well, what's wrong with that? I can understand if it's
to have the I don't care spirit.
Well, let me tell you why.
Oh, go ahead.
The thought of it, I don't think is bad in and of itself if it's not kind of coupled with kind of frustration, resentment, bitterness, because I believe that you have to have at least a little bit of some of that to accept and be okay. Because the truth is, there are going to be people who are not going to like it. You can have the best intentions. God himself told you to do this exactly. And someone is still going to have an opinion. Absolutely. So I think part of just being like, I don't care, this is what I'm doing, is not a bad just perspective to have if it's not coupled with those other emotions, and just being able to accept that people are going to say things and that may be hurtful, but you know that you're on the path to doing what you need to do, because someone's always going to have an opinion. And that's kind of what we're talking about. But I think the truth is, more people need to see that example of, this is what I'm doing. I follow God and I love him, but I'm carving out a new way because it's important for us all to connect in this way. And so if there are inevitably those people who are going to do that, there are inevitably those people who are going to have an opinion, but that's the picture that people need to see. So who's out there waiting for you who need to see that example so that they can be encouraged? You know, you never know who's on the other side of your obedience. So I would focus on those other people who need to see me in that arena, because someone is going to not be happy. I mean, it just is. It just is.
Absolutely. Can't please everybody. And I tell new artists that all the time. Number one, make sure this is between you and God. Make sure God has called you to do it, because you have to have that boldness and confidence in him that what he has put inside of you, he's going to give you exactly what you need to do what he has called you to do.
Absolutely.
Right. So it is frustrating at times. I will admit. I can honestly say it's frustrating.
You're human though, so
I am human. Yeah. But here's the thing. Who am I trying to please here? Am I trying to please man, woman, human, or am I trying to please God? If I don't do what God has called me to do and be true to who LeNasia is, am I disappointing man, or am I disappointing God? Or am I just simply disappointing myself? You see what I'm saying? These are the conversations I have.
So what's the answer to that last question?
Oh, I'm gonna absolutely. I won't be happy if I'm not true to LeNasia, if I'm not doing what LeNasia excites LeNasia. Now, how I do LeNasia, it is has to, Lord, this is what I want to do. Show me how to do it. He showed me how to do it. I do it his way. All is well. Still, even if when I do it God's way, I'm still not going to please everybody.
At all.
And that's the thing. That's why I say it comes with that whole, I don't really care. Listen to my music or don't listen to my music.
I mean, that's what it is. But the person who needs to will. And that's what's important.
Right.
That's it.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to bring up Tracy's statement. She says, our children learn from us, especially in the church. So we as adults have to be mindful and do better. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is very important. I always say that for my children, I am their first example. Parents are their children's first example, even before we even get to church. Because that's what confuses a lot of our young teenagers.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I think of a friend who said, you know, my mother will go to church on this day and then cuss people out the next day. It's just
exactly.
Like, why yeah.
Exactly. And that's where the whole attitude of, I don't really want to go to church. When you become that teenager, I can't wait till I get 18 and I leave here. I ain't never going to church, because they seeing two different sides. It's either, man, mama, are you be shouting in church on Sundays, but then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we fighting and, you know, doing, you have that double standard life. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the trauma begins before it even gets to church, to be honest.
So I'm looking way more at what you do than what you say, right?
Exactly.
So I'm looking to see that you're backing it up. But the other part for me, I remember when I was 16, my mother told me I didn't have to go to church, so I didn't want to. And I said, I won't. And it really took becoming an adult and really figuring out, okay, I think I want to do this for myself, for it to really stick and for it to be something I was passionate about. So I also think that sometimes we fall away, but I think that when you have that foundation, more times than not, you come back to it. But sometimes most of us kind of need to learn the hard way, you know? So some of that too is just about growth and development. So I would say if someone's struggling with your kid maybe not wanting to go to church and you've laid that foundation, just be confident that they'll come back to it, but they just have to get there on their own, because I can't live the rest of my life riding on my mother's faith. It has to be about me and God at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's the start of
totally
it. But if
that
doesn't develop, then it's futile.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
However, I have never heard my grandmama, my mama, my daddy, I don't think they ever looked at me and said, you don't have to go to church.
Yeah.
What? It was absolutely mandatory, to the point where we went so much, it felt weird when we didn't have to go. You know what I mean? And then as a young adult, I have to go to church. It's what I have to do until the Holy Ghost came into my life. And then I wanted to go to church. It was like, I need to go to church, you know?
Yeah.
So,
not that I recommend that for everyone, but I think for me, it was different when I really started getting serious. And then I remember talking to my mom about stuff. She was like, I knew Jesus way before you were born. Why are you trying to tell me all? But I gotta tell you.
That's when it was new and fresh.
Yeah.
And you were like, guess what I learned today?
She's like, girl, please. I knew that.
Absolutely.
Waiting for you to get there. So
oh yes. So I can say that me staying in church, honestly, no, me talking, because everything I experienced, I can honestly say me having someone to talk to freely, talk, like no restrictions. Even if I was angry and I was mad and a cuss word slipped out, it wasn't like, and then that, oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, so you're angry. Well, this is how you're going to handle that. You know, I had somebody to talk to who actually helped me understand what I was feeling, helped me with solutions on how to control what I was feeling, gave me the pros and cons. Well, if you do this, these are the potential pros and these are the potential cons. But if you do this, these are the, you know, and allowed me to have those options to make my own decisions. Hey, everybody, I see y'all. I see all my family, my cousins. Hey, Sister Carolyn. Hey, Delisa. Hey, everybody. Sister Annie. Hey, and my sister. Hey, Reese. So, we have a question. Oh, wait, let's see. Let's read that one together. You are able to reach everyone. You can put out a love song and it will sell. Oh, thank you, Sister Kim. You are just that good. Your anointing will reach people regardless if it is R&B, soul, or gospel. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Carolyn. And I will share this with you. I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago. And I went to network, and I went to a comedy club because one of my friend's friend knew somebody at the comedy club. This was an opportunity that maybe I can meet the owner and see what it's like. So we go and everything. So when we had a chance to talk, and he said, well, do you want to sing? And I said, yeah, full of room. It's a comedy club, but yeah, I sing anyway. You know what I mean? So I got up and I sang my single, which is entitled Forward. And I began to sing. Now in church, we used to hearing, sing, baby. Let the Lord use you. Take your time, honey. Just go on and take your time. Especially when they know you're nervous, they get to shout, that's all right, baby. Sing to the glory of God. So I start singing, and this lady jumps up with her beverage, her drink in her hand, and she said, come on, baby, and encourage us. I said, what? And so after I got through singing, the owner walked up to me and he said, I don't like gospel music. And I thought my friend was crazy. Like, why are you even asking me to let a gospel singer come in here? I don't listen to gospel music. But he said, but I love your music. And he took his phone and he showed me that he had purchased my whole album, and then asked me if I would be interested in coming to do an inspirational set at his comedy club.
Wow.
What? Yes. I would love to encourage your peoples, no matter where we are in life. No matter what we're doing, I just believe in my heart, encouragement goes a long, long way, And so I just wanted to share this. So thank you, Sister Carolyn. It makes me feel good. I'm very confident in the gift God has given me, and the ability to write lyrics that's relatable. Amen. Amen.
But that sounds like the answer that we were just talking about earlier. Just
absolutely.
Like that's the reason. So there you go.
Absolutely.
That's what you need to remember every time you start to wonder what other people are think. Remember that moment. Who else would have gotten that opportunity? Really?
True that. But I will admit, though, sis, the human side of me, I was up there shaking in my boots like, oh, Lord, and I'm singing in a comedy club. You know what I mean? The whole atmosphere, it was just a difference. Yeah. But to hear the responses after I got through singing, they encored me. Matter of fact, they encored me, and I ended up singing Lessons to Learn as well. And they loved the song. I left out of there with like 45 new followers and new, it was just like, it was really, really nice. So Sabrina is asking, is it possible to really control your anger?
Yes.
I believe it is possible.
It is possible.
But I'll let the doctor answer that.
Oh yeah. So it is possible, but it's about a few things. Anger is usually really a reaction to some kind of hurt feeling. We are feeling rejected. We're feeling insecure. We're feeling slighted, whatever it is. So it's about figuring out what you're angry about, what the source of that is, and being able to avoid the situation or figure out you're getting upset and kind of remove yourself from that situation. Period. A lot of times we tend to get angry maybe in a lot of the same type of situations, the same type of triggers, being frustrated. And so being able to identify what those are and making better choices in those situations is one thing. The other thing is sometimes we're easily frustrated because we're stressed about other things. So once we can address the other things that are frustrating us, we won't get so easily irritated and maybe at a 10. So maybe I'm annoyed, but I'm not going to yell or scream. I can just say, you know what? Okay. So usually it's about something else. And if we can figure out what that is, then we can control it better. But if you're just going off all the time, there's something deeper going on. It's not just whatever that little thing is. So
Absolutely. I often tell my son, and that is so true. So, do my response to that, can you control your anger? I say absolutely, but you have to be honest with yourself. Like you
mm-hmm.
said, you got to identify, like, where's this anger, what's causing the
What
anger.
about?
But
Mm-hmm.
once you recognize what's causing it, you have to be honest with yourself. What are you doing to that's gonna, you know how they say, what's that term they say, oh, when they say you're angry, it's not you're angering me or you making me feel a certain kind of way. Is it that you making me feel that way, or am I allowing you to make me feel that
It's
way?
the second one, because people can influence you, but they can't control your emotions. Because
That's
the truth
it.
is, the only thing that I'm in control of is me.
It's
So for me
me.
to give you that kind of power, that's problematic. You can influence me, but you can't make me feel this way. I'm allowing that to
Mhm,
happen. So
mhm.
why does that keep happening? And what do I need to address for that not to continue to be the situation? Again,
Right.
influence versus make. The words that we use make a huge difference in how we move. And because if you feel like people can just make you angry all the time, then you're just a victim to that. You
Mhm.
can never control your anger, because
Right.
whatever you do is going to make me be this way. I'm just waiting for someone else to make me feel a certain way. And that's
Right.
not, that can't be the way we function in the world. That's not a healthy way to function in the world.
Right. And then it's important to have those friends too that can help you see some things that maybe you can't see. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say recently because it's not recently now, but I did learn through my friends, through my family and friends, being honest with me that my sister just blurted out one time, you're controlling. What do you mean I'm controlling? You're very controlling. You got to have things your way and it has to be done this way. And, da, 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 da. And I'm like, I am not controlling, just maybe a little bit. Okay, yeah, I am controlling. And so I had to recognize, I had to sit back and evaluate, why am I like that? Why do I have to have control? And I believe it's because of the things that I experienced in my life. I did not have control. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have control over my family member molesting me. I didn't have no kind of control. I felt powerless. So I was just like, you know, I, if I don't have control of the situation, I will never let nobody get the best of me. You know,
Yep.
that was that wall that built. So I'm going to make sure that I speak my mind. And if I don't like it, I'm going to say I don't like it. But then
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn something else, which called discipline and watching my mouth. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you that what you're doing and what you're saying to me hurting me without giving you what you're doing and saying is hurting. You know what I mean? Controlling my own self. But it was that lack of not being able to say what will happen with me, or what I don't want that no more. I didn't have that option.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the option to, let me move her question, to say, speak my mind. So now I have that wall up that if, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you messing with my control level now.
Yeah. It's a
Like
trigger, and we tend to
it,
go
it
from one
is.
to the other. But that's also another plug for therapy, right? Because what if we don't have those people in our life who are going to be truthful and transparent with us? Or what if we can't figure out why I'm angry so often, or what are the things that are getting in the way? What's deeper? That's what therapy can do. Help us to figure out those triggers, those things we struggle with, those things that influence how we act in the world that maybe are impacting our relationships. A lot of times we can tend to have some of the same struggles and we blame everyone else when we're the common denominator.
Right.
So having someone to help you not only support you but give you actual tools to improve how you function, to improve your relationships, to let go of traumas, because
Mhm.
we all have experienced traumas. How do we live well through that? I know for me, growing up, you this is just an example. You go to a funeral, people die, you're sad at the funeral, and then that's it. Nobody ever taught me what grieving looked like. So
Mhm.
when I really had to grieve, I was like, what is wrong with me? It's
Right.
2 weeks later. I'm still sad. What is this? So, really, those things that we don't talk about that are so taboo, really just being better at living and growing and just feeling better.
Now you just gave a little segue into, are you available for new clients? And if so, how can we reach out to you to get help?
So I am not taking new therapy clients right now, but I have a
Mhm.
practice of therapists who are excellent. Um,
Okay.
so they can find us at Well, there's a few different ways. So our website is peaceofmindpsychology.com.
Okay.
PEACE. So peaceofmindpsychology.com. And we are also on Instagram and Facebook at Peace of Mind Psychology. So they can feel free to reach out to us on the website or through social media, and we will be more than happy to help.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to thank you again for your transparency and sharing this time with us and being open and honest with us on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is something that's really dear to my heart because I run into a lot of people, and I started this whole transparency conversation because people would ask me all the time, how did you get to the point where you could talk about everything that you've been through, all the dumb things I did? I done did a whole bunch of dumb things, huh? And I'm sure we all have made some crazy decisions and then sit back and be like, now why? Name did I do that? But they often ask me, how did I get over my molestation? And it's simple. I had somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
I had somebody that was honest and allowed me to be honest, to express how I felt, asked all the questions I wanted to ask. She didn't judge me. She loved me through the process. She answered my questions. And if she did not know, she had somebody she trusted to talk to and then come back with, you know what I mean? She didn't forget about me. And I just really appreciate it. But the most important part is she talked to me. She shared her experiences with me and made me understand that I was not the only one. I am not alone. And she made it, so now I can make it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing with us, Dr. Brianna Gaynor. And if anybody want to reach out, again, it's Peace of Mind, www.peaceofmindpsychology.com. Psychology.com. We're going to put that in the notes and everything. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation. And please feel free. I may have to reach out to you again, okay? Because you helped me on a couple things myself, okay? So thanks again. And
so much for having me.
We will talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us. And Sister, she said, that is an awesome testimony. We remember many of the body of Christ. Let your gift continue to be. Thank you so much. I love the people. I love people, and I love to motivate, uplift, and encourage. That is always my thing. Please don't forget to follow me on all digital